Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. I'm Walter Perez, your host, and I am glad you're joining me on another episode. And thanks for joining me. Honestly, I really do appreciate that. I hope that you've enjoyed the content, the conversations, some of the people and the guests that I've introduced you to, and there's way more to come. But I wanted to bring you another solo episode. And I'm in a bit of a reflective mode today because at the time of this release for this episode, I am a couple of days away from turning 40. Now, there's some of you that are watching this or hearing this, and you're looking at me going, wow, you're getting old. Or maybe some of you are going, hey, man, you're still pretty young. All of you who thought that I look pretty young or sound young, I like you people. Now, okay, so this is it. I'm thinking about this because there's some of you out there, okay? I need to get something off my chest right off the bat. There's some of you who are in your 30s and you think you're old. I mean, God forbid, there might be some of you in your 20s and you think you're old. There's some of you in your 40s, there's some of you in your 50s and you think you're old. And you act old. And I'm not talking about acting mature. I'm talking about you acting old. You feel like your life is over and your life is done. And I got to tell you, stop that. Stop doing that. And that's not me turning 40 and being in denial that I'm getting older. No, not at all. I just want to tell you that you're still young. I'm still young, and there's so much left in your life that you can accomplish, do, and just continue doing. And so I want you to stop that because you're not old, and it starts by the way you think about yourself. And so let's adjust and pivot that. One of my friends, Justin, who's been on this podcast, a wise man once told him, you're not old, but you're no longer young. Something like that. You're not old, but you're not young anymore. And I really found that pretty profound. And I've been thinking about that quite a bit because that's right. I'm not old, but I'm also not young anymore. And so I need to really assess and think a little bit different on what's happening. And one of my favorite things to do is definitely do some reflection and also having some vision for the future. And there's a stat out there right now that I believe that the average age, don't fully quote me on this, but I believe the average age that people are getting to, the old age that people can live up to is about 82 years old. Now, with me turning 40, that means, man, I'm halfway there. This is halftime. And I'm halfway there. And what does that mean? Now, I don't know. I mean, that's the average age, and I don't like to compare myself to average. I think with modern medicine, if we take care of ourselves, if we exercise, if we're careful on what we're putting into our bodies, and if we're intentional about being healthy, there's no reason why we can't live into our 90s and hundreds. There is definitely great opportunity and potential for that. Now, not all of us know how long we're going to live. There's a lot of different things that are happening in the world and in our lives that we don't know how old. But the question is, are we trying our best? Are we stewarding our lives? Are we stewarding our bodies to make sure that we do our part? That if there is an opportunity to live longer and healthy, are we actually doing that? And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about, because if I do get to live around 90 or 100, well, I'm actually in my second quarter right now. And I still have two more quarters, third quarter, fourth quarter. I'm not even in the at halftime yet, depending on how you want to look at that. And so for me, it goes, okay, well, let's do some reflection. How do I feel about the last 40 years? Oh, man. If I look at the last 40 years, there's a lot of things that I've done and haven't done. There's things that I'm super pumped and excited for that I did and accomplished. And man, I got to tell you, like most of us out there probably have things that we can think about that we're not so proud of. that we're not very excited that that was part of our lives. But the real question is, what did we do about it, and what did we learn from all that? And did we take those moments that were good and that were bad, and what did we do with them? Did they make us a better person? And so I look at the last 40 years, man, and I can remember thinking of things that I wanted to do, and I can look back now going, well, no, that definitely never happened. But I don't want to live in regret. I don't want to live in this state of life where I'm just kind of coasting and just kind of accepting life for what it is. This is what life, the card that life handed me, and so it is what it is. I'm done. Not at all. And if any of you know me, you know that I do not think like that, and I would never encourage you to think like that either. But there's a lot of great things that I should be thankful for, and gratitude has to be a huge part of this. Because if you want to move from your past, you cannot let your past steal things from your future. And some of us need to heal from the past and need to heal from some of the choices we made, the things that did or didn't happen. And so we need to just release that, forgive ourselves, and we need to start healing and moving forward so that we're not leading into the future from pain, but we're leading from healing. And so I want you to kind of chew on that if this is speaking to you. But there's definitely great things. I mean, I look back, I've been married for almost 12 years. I have 5 children. I've accomplished different things. I've been part of a few different businesses. Um, this this podcast was started in the past year. I have a lot of other events that I put on and business things that I've done. Like there's things that I am proud of, and of course, there's always a thing that I can nitpick and go, "What is not where I wanted it to be." But hey, what am I gonna do today then to make a difference and to change that? Like you have a choice. I have a choice. I have a choice to either get stuck in this pity party, or I have the choice to say, okay, I'm going to do something about it, and I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen again. This idea that today is the first day of the rest of your life. So regardless what has happened up to now, if you're not proud of it, well then change. Make the choice to do something different. And so I've been thinking about all this because I want, as I step into my 40th birthday in the next decade, in the next couple of decades, and so on, I want them to be the best years of my life. I want to be able to adapt and change and to take a hold of the opportunities that are coming my way and to make it the best that it's ever been, regardless of what kind of 40 years I've had in the past. And like I said, there's been some challenges, but if I'm very honest with myself, there's been some great things that I can be grateful for and that I've become better because of what has taken place and what has happened. So I wanted to shoot some thoughts past you today, and this idea of a GPS. Like, what does your GPS look like? And maybe there's a few different acronyms out there or whatever, but I kind of made my own here, and the GPS concept is so you can remember it. But the G stands for growth. The P stands for process, and the S stands for support. GPS, growth, process, and support. And so, why don't we kind of back up a little bit and dissect this a little bit? And let me explain to you from my perspective why those 3 words are important to me, not only for the last 40 years, but why it's super important going into the next 40 years, 50 or 60 years of my life. And so, growth to me is ultra important. And you've heard me talk about it on this podcast so much, and it's one of the pillars and one of the core values on this podcast, that it matters. To grow matters. Like growth needs to be one of your core values, and you need to be able to focus on that because it dictates a lot of things in your life. I promise you that if you focus on some personal growth, if you focus on personally growing, anything that you are connected with and touch, you will give that opportunity for it to grow as well. Now, you don't have 100% control of things, on how things are gonna, you know, plan out, and what may exactly happen with your business or your family and all that. But you will set yourself for success, and you will set yourself and others for success if you personally grow. I Because if you don't, you might be the reason why something doesn't actually move forward, why something actually doesn't grow. You might be the reason that it gets capped and held back. So you need to focus on growth, because the things that are coming in the horizon, the things that are coming in the next number of months or the year or years, could determine on the potential of what you have done and what you've chosen to do today. If you grow, you will, one thing I will guarantee is that you won't be the reason that something gets capped or doesn't grow, but you will set yourselves up to be able to be a better leader. You'll be able to be a better person. And so I want you to think about that, because I like to talk about vision, I like to talk about mission and goals and dreams, and that's great. But don't just get focused on goals, but be focused on growth. Because in that process, you end up asking yourself, or in that state you ask yourself, okay, who do I want to become? Who do I want to be? Like, what are people going to say at my funeral about me? Are they just going to talk about the things I accomplished, or are they going to talk about the person who the man or the woman that I was, the family person that I was, the kind of father, the kind of mother, the kind of friend, the kind of husband or wife I was? Like, you need to ask yourself, like, who do you want to be? And don't wait for somebody else to kind of make up that list of things to say at your funeral, but start writing that down and start living it out. So then there is no doubt that people are going to say, hey, that person was a man of integrity. That woman had character and was trustworthy and was an amazing leader, was an amazing family person. Like, whatever you want to insert there, decide to grow and decide to become a person that adds value to the world, that lives on core values, that lives on point and lives them out daily, and regardless of what you do. Grow. Growth is super important. And don't just focus on results, which then takes me to the next part of the P, which is process. I want to, something that I have learned and I continue to adapt and learn, because I'm not perfect over here, is enjoy the process and stop focusing on the results. Yes, it's great to have goals. It's great to have mile markers and to see where we want to go and how far we want to go. 100%. I'm not telling you not to make plans. I'm not telling you not to make goals and not to write them down. Do that. But in that, make sure you enjoy the process. Some of us are so caught up in we're in a hurry to get somewhere, and we don't even know why, and we miss this whole journey of where we get to experience life, and we get to learn, and we get to enjoy the time building the business. We get to enjoy the time that we have our kids at home, and we get to we forget to really be intentional, and we forget to be present, and we forget to realize that, hey, that life is not just about setting a goal and reaching it and arriving and going, okay, like, if you're going to make the goal to climb the mountain and reach the peak, well, don't just be all focused about getting to the peak, and enjoy the journey along the way. And yeah, you know what, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's challenging. There's things that happen along the way, there's storms that come, but can you enjoy it? Can you learn from it? Can you figure out who you are in the process? Are you maturing in this process? Because what if you end up arriving one day to the wherever you're heading and you're still immature? You still don't even know how to handle the success. You don't know how to handle whatever you created or you've been given the opportunity to have. This blessing that's been given to you, you arrive with it, but you don't even know what you're supposed to do with it. So enjoy the journey, so then you can along the way you can mature, and then you don't just show up one day and with the age you've grown old, but the experience and the evaluated experience of what has happened along the way meant nothing. So enjoy the process. Enjoy the process right now, and don't be in such a hurry. We don't know if tomorrow's been promised to us. So let's figure out a way that we're investing in relationships and we're investing in people around us, and that we are investing in ourselves so we can enjoy the process. So on that note, on the whole relationship thing and people around us, the third word was support. I like to the reason I said support is because support system. Who's your support system? Not what, but who. Who are the people that are in your lives? What are relationships are you investing in? Who are the people that are part of your lives that you love and care for? Who are you bringing along with you? Do you have a mentorship mindset? Do you have a coaching mindset? If you don't feel old enough to be able to pass that down yet, well, who are you gleaning off of? Who do you have in your life that speaks into your life? Who are you learning from that is helping you make sure you don't make mistakes, and that that are helping you be a springboard into the future? Somebody once says that life moves at the rate of relationships. I think that was so good. Life moves at the rate of relationships, and I think there's a lot of truth in that, because the relationships that we have can sometimes be negative or positive. They can have a negative or positive effect on our lives, and it can be so wacky. But are we being careful on who we associate with? Are we being careful on who we allow speak into our lives? Do we allow people to speak into our lives? Do we understand that community is actually super ultra important? You were not designed to do life alone. You're not meant to do life alone. And some of you who are introverts, some of you who have a personality that thinks that no, it's just me, myself, and I want to tell you to open up and explore that people are actually part of human nature, and we need to do things in community and relationships, and maybe we need to be wise on who we let in and who we're around, but don't allow hurt from the past or other people's um, you know past bad past experiences that have taken place determine what the relationships are going to look for you in the future. Those are super important. So when we get our life figured out on track and understand that growth is going to be important, GPS, growth is going to be important. The process in the journey is ultra important as well. And the support system, the relationships, the people that are in our lives are going to be also a big factor in how we move forward. I think that will transform your life. There's so many other things there's so many other things that I could add in that, but I think these pillars will help us dissect and understand that, hey, I have to invest in myself. I have to be careful on how I think. I have to figure out what kind of habits I have in my life. I have to look into the people that I'm learning from, and what am I doing to get around great people, and be able to live in community. When you start thinking about that, man, you realize that, yeah, there is some time available for you to live your life, but there's also not a lot of time left, because we don't know how much time we have left on this earth. And so as I am about to step into 40, I'm not old, but I'm no longer young anymore. And I want to remind you of that, regardless of how old you are. Like, this is an opportunity to reflect, to think about where you're at. Maybe there's a lot of things that you haven't done, but maybe stop first and reflect on the past, and what can you be grateful for? Even the bad experiences, what good have they done for you? What role did they play that they made you who you are today? And then now let's pivot. Let's make the choice that starting today, I'm going to do something different. That maybe I only have 5 years left. Maybe I have 10 years. Maybe I have more, whatever. But you're going to make those years the best years of your life. You're going to create new memories. You're going to create new relationships. You're going to create new habits. And you're going to create an environment for yourself to be so proud of and be the person that you think that God has made you to be. And you're going to tap into your potential. I need you to realize that you have potential, then you're going to tap into your potential, then you're going to maximize that potential and do the best that you can for what is left, regardless of what that is. I want to be optimistic and say that I got another 40, 50, 60 years of my life. I hope so, because I want to be able to see my kids grow up. I want to see my grandkids. I want to be able to enjoy family. I want to enjoy what we're building here and the impact that we're creating into the world, the serving that we're doing. But at the end of the day, I want to be intentional starting today so I can make sure that I am living on purpose moving forward and that the next 40, 50, 60 are going to be the best. Anyhow, I want you to think about that. If you've been struggling with this, if you have thoughts about this, drop me a comment, send me a message. I want to hear your thoughts. If you have some questions, like I said before, I want to address some of your questions on a future episode and be able to add value to you. This is about you. This is about all of us collaborating, building community, being on purpose, being better leaders, and focusing on these things that matter, because it does matter on how you look at yourself. It does matter on what you think. It does matter on where you're at in life today. But we always have a choice. Always have a choice to change, and you have the choice, and I have the choice. So let's go do it. Let's go make a difference. Let's start with one step at a time, and let's just see where it goes. Anyway, thanks for joining me on today's episode. I really appreciate all of you. Please like this episode, share it, and I'll catch you on the next episode as I line up a few more guests as we're gonna end this year strong. And I'm excited for 2025, even though it's 3 months away. I'm excited for what's gonna come, and I'm excited for all of you as you continue to make the choice to be better, and anything that you work in and are working on will be better because of it. So remember, guys, it matters, and what we're doing here will impact people. So until next time, it's a win-win when the leader leads well. Bye for now.